Assalamu alaikum and welcome to video number 1 of the new series Becoming a Brilliantly Equipped Super Teacher, Becoming a Best. This video is a production of East Meets West Educational Services and is posted under the hashtag EMW Teaching Tips. Videos under this hashtag are dedicated to my fellow teachers and anyone who cares about education. They give you practical ideas that are based on research. The best video series is one that I've always wanted to talk about because the idea in it changed my life as a teacher and it can change your life too. So let's see what I have for you. Do you know what this is? This is William Shakespeare School in England. Yes, Shakespeare went to school and he had teachers. Now, who's this boy? It's Bill Gates at school in the US. He too had teachers. Do you know this man? Of course, many of you will. This is Isam Hagi, the NASA scientist. Did you know that he studied in government schools in Libya, Tunisia, and Egypt, and he had teachers from all those countries? And this is where Zuwail, the Nobel Prize holder in physics, studied. He too had teachers. Einstein had teachers, Winston Churchill had teachers, all famous politicians, celebrities, sports people, inventors, writers, people who shaped the world went to some type of school and had teachers. In our schools today, in Stanford-upon-Avon, Seattle, Tripoli, Tunis, Alexandria, Dusuk, Belbase, Munich, Oxfordshire, Babol, Pretoria, we have the Shakespeare, Gates, Hagi, Zuwail, Einstein, Churchill, Khan, and Musk of tomorrow. Everywhere in the world, right now, while I'm speaking to you, we have the leaders who will determine the future of this planet tomorrow, studying with us, teachers. This means that we, teachers, are influencing and shaping the world by teaching its leaders. Not a single other job that I know of can do that. You can bet those leaders were influenced by their teachers, even if history never mentioned those teachers. We all remember teachers who left an impact on us when we were students. Teaching, I can safely say, is the single most important job ever. Isn't this alone worth that we do our job well? I think you agree with me. So, what's our job, my fellow teachers? Simply, a teacher has two main responsibilities which are equally important: academic and non-academic. By academic, I mean the teaching cycle, planning, delivery, and giving feedback. And this is the part of teaching that's given much attention in schools of education around the world and in in-service training. Unfortunately, non-academic responsibilities, however, are often overlooked. And this is what I'm going to talk about in the best video series. In this series, you will hear me talk about doctors and waiters. You will hear me talk about the society and how it affects our classrooms and what it means to students to be taught by different teachers or only one teacher. I will mention the critical mass and explosions, but without talking about physics, and prime time, but without talking about TV or radio. You will hear me talk about the Apollo 13 accident in 1970 and the best-selling book, The Tipping Point. I will share with you the 5-sheet of paper secret that can save the day in parents' meetings and will enable you to assess your students' performance accurately. We will hear of a famous poet who failed as a teacher and we will know why, and many more interesting things. So, let's get started. The first thing I want to share with you, my fellow colleagues, is the importance of following research-based practices. A problem that we teachers always have is that we adamantly turn down the results of research just because those results seem to contradict our personal experiences or even our whims. That's why it's important to start with understanding what research really means. A simple definition of research is the systemic study of the subject in order to discover facts. This means facts are out there and researchers only find them. They do that using a sophisticated system to make sure that what they find are actually facts, not false conclusions. Research exists everywhere around you, even if you're not aware of it. These remote controls, this laptop, even this humble can of soda are the results of research. The mobile phone you're watching me from, the clothes that you're wearing, the car you're driving, everything is the result of research. Now, I want to introduce to you the concept of meta-analysis. What is that? When scholars collect the results of a large number of studies and analyze them, we call it a meta-analysis. When a meta-analysis states that something is true, it's accepted as concrete and undeniable fact. Let me give you an example of when a meta-analysis saved humanity. We had the smallpox disease for hundreds, if not thousands of years. In the 20th century alone, this terrible disease killed 300 million people, according to the BBC website. COVID-19 is nothing in comparison. When a vaccine was developed in the 19th century, it was given to many doctors to test on their patients and record the results. Those results of millions of studies from all continents, from all countries, were collected in many meta-analyses, and based on those meta-analyses, the World Health Organization started a global vaccination campaign in 1958 only to eradicate the disease by 1980. Now, it's an accepted and undeniable fact that the smallpox vaccine actually works successfully against the smallpox disease. Why? Because meta-analyses helped us make sure that it does work. So what does this have to do with educational research? In the field of education, there are many meta-analyses which provide us with facts about teaching. One very important meta-analysis which was published in the renowned journal Educational Leadership in 1994 was titled "What Helps Students Learn?" In this salient study, the three American scholars, Churchill and Wahlberg, wanted to determine the factors that influence students' learning and place them in rank order. Do you know how many pieces of research they reviewed? You won't believe it. 11,000 pieces of research which spanned 50 years. And guess what the most important factor governing students' learning is? It's classroom management. 11,000 pieces of research in an extensive meta-analysis tell us that how you and I, my fellow teachers, manage our students is the single most important factor that will determine whether they will learn. The number one factor is not how much the teacher knows about the subject. I know that's important. It's not home and parental support. I know that is important. It's not the course book. That is important too, I know, but the most important factor in students' learning is classroom management. That is what this extensive meta-analysis shows. There is no doubt about that, just like there is no doubt that the smallpox vaccine works. So classroom management is what this series of videos is about. So please stay tuned. You will actually walk away with things that will set you up for life to be a best. So, what is classroom management exactly? As I stated earlier, our job as teachers has two parts: academic and non-academic. Classroom management is the most important thing in the non-academic part, which we can learn a whole lot about from other jobs. Let me explain. This is a doctor and this is a waiter. Oh really? I didn't know that. One thing they have in common is that both of them work with people. A doctor and a waiter do their jobs in certain ways, and their patients or their customers are expected to follow those ways in order to stay healthy, get cured, and get the service they want. People don't say no to doctors or waiters, and if they do, if people don't listen to the doctors, they will be at risk. And if they don't work with their waiters, they won't get served. Can you imagine a doctor telling you to take a medicine? Will you say no? Or a waiter telling you to choose something from the menu and let him know when you're ready to order? Will you really say no? Maybe when they bring the bill to you, then you will say no. The instructions doctors and waiters give their patients or their customers are called procedures. When you go to a bank, there is a procedure. When you buy things at the supermarket, there is a procedure. Procedures are a part of life in most jobs that provide services. On the other hand, the traffic officer does not have a procedure that you need to follow. Rather, he or she imposes a rule. If you don't stop at the red light, he or she will give you a ticket. You park your diesel car in the space for electric vehicles, a parking attendant will give you a fine. You build without a building permit, an inspector will give you a penalty. Generally speaking, people in the executive branch of the government, ministries, governorates, municipalities, most importantly, the police, impose law and order, and they have rules and penalties. Now, let's get things straight. Doctors have procedures for you to follow, and they don't penalize you if you don't. They will simply work again with you till you get things done right. Police officers, however, give you rules and penalties if you don't follow those rules. Back to our question. What is classroom management? Think. You as a teacher, do you think your job is more of a doctor's or a police officer's when dealing with your students? In other words, do you have more procedures and no consequences, or more rules and penalties? What are procedures and rules like in school? What's the difference between them? All of this and a lot more we will talk about in the next video. So let's sum up what we have talked about in this video. In this first video, we talked about how important the job of a teacher is. We also said that teaching has two parts, academic and non-academic. Classroom management is under the latter, and it's the most important factor in students' learning. How do we know that? From research. We highlighted the importance of following research findings. Next video, I will talk about procedures and rules in detail. Please feel free to drop a line in the comments to let me know what type of teacher you are, and if you have any points that you would like me to cover in the next video, let me know in the comments too. If you like this video, let me know by clicking like and share it with your friends. Stay safe. I'll see you next video. Assalamu alaikum.